Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fumbling Gurus podcast. I am your host, G Man, and below me somewhere is Sensational Gaming, Finn,
Hello. What up? Hi.
and then somewhere below him is the Bucks fan, the bearded one, Six Stomach.
Last man standing. Welcome back, everyone.
Were
Yeah,
you saying
well,
that like a hierarchy where like you're the top dog, then me, and then Sick?
yeah, I
Was
think
that
so.
the
I think so for this week because I'm on top, and then y'all are down below me. So I wish that's how it went. But it did not go that way. Um, anyways, we got a lot to talk about, but none of it's really newsworthy. So, playoff games.
That's not newsworthy?
Playoff games is the only news we need to discuss today.
There we go. That's
There
what
we
I like
go.
to hear.
And you know what? Just because I don't want to hear it later, I think we should discuss the Eagles Bucks game first to get that out of the way, to clear the air. Because I told y'all that my Eagles were going to go in there and they were going to get something done, and they did not. But I don't want to talk about it first. I want to hear Sick's point of view. I want to hear what he thought. I want to hear what Finn thought. But let's start with Sick on that one.
Sure thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was expecting, hoping, I guess, for a little bit of fireworks during the game. It wasn't terrible. I do think kind of when we got into halftime and second half, it did get a little boring. But it was interesting to see the dynamics. I was interested to see the Buccaneers with the injuries, how we'd respond in the playoffs, a knockout scenario. We did get, an injury to one of our offensive linemen, which is kind of like the main piece we still have. So hopefully he'll be back in this upcoming week. But overall, I think it was a pretty straightforward game. The Buccaneers did come out and get some things going. I think the main key takeaways and something I mentioned last week is Evans and Gronk are pretty much going to have to carry the team. That those two were Evans had a couple of key catches for like third downs and other areas of the game, and I think I don't know, moving forward against teams that have more weapons, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But so far, those two can help carry us forward for the time being. Of course, Tom Brady, if he were to go down for any scenario, we're screwed. He's the last kind of key there. He's the only reason we're maintaining where we're at. But yeah, like you said, I know we were hoping for maybe a little bit of a closer game, but it ended up not being that way. But I think it was a respectable game. It was better than maybe some of the other games we're going to talk about today. So couldn't complain too much.
Yeah, God, Finn, just crap all over my Eagles real quick.
Absolutely. I said last week that the Eagles were the worst team in the playoffs. And I was actually I misspoke a little bit. Pittsburgh was the worst team in the playoffs.
For sure.
But the Eagles aren't much better. I mean, Eagles versus playoff teams this year, 0-7 with 90 something point differential. They stunk against good teams. That's not good. Their offense was predicated on running the football because they struggle to throw the ball, and that's not good. Their spacing looked atrocious. You cannot attack the Bucks in the middle of the field. Vita Vea is too big. Levante David, the other all-pro linebacker, name's escaping me right now. They're too good. You know what you do? You have to move the ball on the outside. You have to be able to attack them from the sideline and be able to beat them through the air. Eagles are not good. They were not a good team. They beat up bad teams. They did not deserve to be in the playoffs this year, and it showed. With that said, now I know I saw that look. With that said, they do have 3 first-round picks. They get to improve their team, but it was a. I woke up that morning. I got to see the weather outside, and it was cruddy out. And I said, this weather might keep the Eagles in the game. It might keep them close. And then I was driving home around noon, and I saw the blue sky, and I saw the sunshine, and I said, oh boy, the Eagles are in trouble. Yeah, They were in trouble. As soon as the kickoff happened, the Eagles were already behind the 8 ball. It was ugly.
Okay, hold on. I have to throw something back at you real quick. Eagles don't deserve to be there. Okay, yeah, they didn't beat any playoff teams, but the in the hunt teams, Saints beat them, Panthers beat them, Vikings lost to the Lions. I think they lost their last two games. So if not the Eagles, then who?
Easy. Why did we expand the playoffs to 7 games? Or 7 teams? Pittsburgh didn't deserve the playoffs. Eagles didn't deserve the playoffs. There's your 2 7 seeds. Boom, knock them off. Boom. There you go.
That's not how the playoffs work, buddy.
It was until this year.
I know they changed.
But they changed it trying to get a larger pool of good teams in, and they didn't this year, right? They might in the future. And I'm not saying that adding a 7th team is the right way or whatever. The Saints, yeah, you did beat the Saints, and the Saints were not good enough. The Saints also give the Bucks fits and have beaten playoff teams. The Eagles were not good against teams that were good. They were the weakest team to enter the NFC.
I would agree. Race. I would agree with that, but saying that we don't need to be there, I don't know about that one. Because we beat the teams we needed to beat to get there. Yeah, didn't beat the playoff worthy teams. We were close against the Bucks when we faced them the first time. I'm pretty sure the Chiefs game was pretty close.
But are we saying
did we get it done? No, but
are we really saying though that Pittsburgh also deserved the playoffs? I mean, sure, the Chiefs or the Chiefs, the team over there in LA, the Chargers, they could have tied and have made the playoffs. They could have won and made the playoffs. There was the Dolphins. They would have probably been a better team than Pittsburgh. There's a lot of teams that were better than Pittsburgh, but that doesn't mean that Pittsburgh didn't deserve the playoffs. They won the games they needed to, but they also didn't deserve the playoffs. That's what I'm saying. There were some really cruddy teams that made it this year. The Eagles and Pittsburghs were pretenders. They were not contenders.
We will agree to disagree on that. I'm going to tell you something, though. You are absolutely right about the Eagles. Like, playoffs, they didn't look like they needed to be there. Going up to the playoffs, I would have to disagree. But when we got there, we just dropped the ball, literally. And, it felt like all Jalen Hurts wanted to pass to is Dallas Goedert, and he was under double coverage the entire time. Devontae Smith, first-round pick, we didn't even use him. I think he had 11 targets the entire game.
11, that seems high.
Yeah, he didn't catch very many. So they were maybe it was less than that. I know he caught a 2-point conversion, which was pretty neat. But yeah, I think that we have to work on some things, especially our defense, and our offense is not very good. I think Jalen Reagor needs to go big time. Muffed punt, something like that. And he's just, I don't know how you can be wide open and so oblivious. That, you know what I'm talking about, Sick? That pick at the end zone. God, it was so bad. I was embarrassed to be an Eagles fan. I just, but at the start of the season, you guys laughed at me when I said we were going to get 11 wins. We got 9. So it was definitely a rebuild year. I did not think we were going to get anywhere near that, but pulled it off.
I would like to say for clarification, yes, Devontae Smith had 11 targets, 4 catches. However, he did not get his first target until the third quarter.
Mm-hmm. How in the world? You tell me how in the world your running back gets 0 touchdowns all season? 0 touchdowns all season. Seriously. Miles Sanders got 0 touchdowns all season. I just, God.
He was hurt. But the thing is, that's actually not as uncommon as you want to make it sound like. So Carolina did it for many years when they had Cam Newton. New England, their number one running back doesn't necessarily score a ton of touchdowns. they have specialized guys that get the touchdowns, right?
Hmm.
So Miles Sanders gets a bulk of the carries, but then they bring in guys for the red zone. They and of course your quarterback Jalen Hurts being a running quarterback, he's going to steal touchdowns. So that is a skewed number simply because you have other options at running back. I mean, the Eagles have like 4 guys that could probably start on some teams. So don't I don't think you can look at that and say that's their problem. They were a running football team running a 1980s offense in 2021. That's your issue.
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely feel. Funny enough, Henry Ruggs had more receiving yards than Jalen Reagor, and he was out week 8. So, and he was what, a second round pick? God, and guess what? Apparently, rumor is that they're gonna keep Jalen Reagor on,
Of course,
and
he
they're
was a
gonna
first
keep,
round pick.
and they're gonna, and they're keeping Jalen Hurts on, which I'm fine giving Jalen Hurts another year, but you better trade one of those third round picks to next year, so when we get better quarterbacks, we can invest in somebody else if he doesn't.
I mean, I don't want to get too much into what Eagles need to do where there's a lot of games, a lot of football
Yeah,
still left to be played.
that's
However,
true.
I will say this. Any wide receiver within the first 2 years should not get cut. It typically takes wide receivers 3 years. There's a big thing in fantasy football circles that say you want to focus on third-year receivers. Those are your the boom type of players. They're the guys who take the next step. History says that the third-year receivers go big. Yes, it hurts when you take a guy like Rager over a guy like Justin Jefferson for Minnesota who set all sorts of records. But you cannot focus on 1 and 2 years. You can't focus on a game where, yes, he was horrible in the punt return game. Everything about the Eagles were bad. Their offense was bad, their special teams was bad, their defense was bad. The Bucks were able to do whatever they wanted to do, and they did it consistently. The only thing that the Eagles had going for them was their pass rush. Once the starting center went down with an injury and their starting right tackle, an all-pro Wirfs went down with an injury. Oh, and by the way, their backup right tackle got hurt. That's when the Eagles finally showed a little bit of life. That's not good enough. Sorry, Eagles fans. You made the playoffs. Hopefully, you can fix a lot of issues going into next year. But the Bucks were victorious and they dominated.
Yeah. Honestly, you're right. We don't need to talk about this anymore. I want to forget. I want to hit the reset button. Maybe we get something done next year. I don't know. But NFC least, we ain't done talking about you. The Cowboys versus the Niners. I want to see, because Finn, you picked the Cowboys to win. I want to know what your thoughts are on that.
One thing that I did not take into account was coaching. I'm going to be dead honest. I looked at the roster and I said Dak Prescott, better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. Dallas has better wide receivers than what San Francisco does. Dallas has a better defense than San Francisco. Dallas has better running backs than San Francisco. Dallas has a better offensive line than San Francisco. You look up and down and I go, well, that's easy. Coaching favored San Francisco. I mean, their head coach came out and said that they could tell that the Dallas Cowboys players were nervous. What are you talking about? They were nervous. You're the coach. Prepare them. If they're not prepared, that's on you, big boy. Sorry, guy. Mike McCarthy got his job by lying to Jerry Jones. He said that he watched every single play, he studied analytics, and he did everything to revamp it. Guess what? He lied. He admitted he lied the next week after he got hired. He's a bad coach in Green Bay. He was a bad coach in Dallas, and he absolutely blew that game in the fourth quarter. What in the world were you doing running the ball with 14 seconds left and no timeouts? There have been plenty of GMs and coaches that have come forward, ex-quarterbacks, you name it, every player who's played the game, who said that you cannot run the ball like that without having at minimum 16 seconds on the play clock. Guess what? If they had 16 seconds on the play clock, there's still one play left in the game. But they did it with 14. That went through the offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, who's a head coaching candidate for several teams. Not anymore. Then it went to their head coach, McCarthy. He probably should be fired for that. I believe that there are certain things that are fireable offenses. To me, that's one of them. And then you have Dak Prescott. You got to slide a little bit earlier. You got to know to give the ball to the ref. And you can't get in the way of the ref and get knocked over. It was an exciting game. It had a little bit of everything. But at the end of the day, coaching prevailed, and the Dolphins' first-round draft pick got worse.
Yeah. The funny thing is yeah, you should have probably handed that ball to the ref, but when the ref is 30 yards away and running at you, like, and the clock's ticking, still, do you think they should have gave him more time for that? Like, no,
absolutely not. No,
30 yards away.
It was funny because yes, how you spot a football when the nearest official was like 5 yards down the field and the guy who has to spot the ball was 30 yards down the field, it doesn't matter. They were booking it like they were doing what they were supposed to do. They have to stand so far back behind the line in case something happens so they can see the play unfold. That is their job. Do you know what your job is as a player? To know down and distance. You know what your job as a coach is? To know what time is in the game. You know what your job collectively as a team is to do? Get the ball to the ref so they can spot it and then spike the ball so that there's 1 second left. Everybody failed. The umpires, the referees, they did what they were supposed to do. And actually, I'm going to give a lot of credit to that ref. That dude booked it. That is not a professional athlete, yet he covered ground. And he took down Dak. You see that shoulder drop? Boom! That was beautiful.
Sick.
Eagles could have learned how to tackle.
Sick. Listen, you chose right. You got the W here. What did you see? You knew the Cowboys wouldn't choke, just like I did. What did you see?
I mean, all things aside, right? Everyone's talking about the end of the game. I don't even think the Cowboys deserved to win that game the way they played. Like up until the second half, there was nothing going for them. They made a comeback, sure. You know, they gave it their effort. They tried to come back in the second half there, but up until that point, 49ers were dominating them. There was, I think it was near the end of the half, you started getting a little bit there. But I mean, when I was watching that game, I at halftime I was like, 49ers are gonna win this game. They're playing better. They seem to want to show up today. The Cowboys, no one wanted to play, and finally got kicked in the butt at halftime. But again, that's what it comes down to, right? They always, all the arguments always, well, hell, the ref should have been closer. They should have, had the analytics correct and known how much time they needed. Why not just win before those last couple seconds? Why are, you're complaining about the last 5 seconds in the game. What about the other 45 minutes that you had? Where were you in that time? So it's like, yeah, the ending, I don't know which way of the fence I'm on. I agree the ref needs to be in his position to make the call. If that's 30 yards away and that's the standard, then, that's what it is. And you have to take that into consideration when you're making that play call, that the ref is going to take time to get to that ball. And yeah, I mean, again, if that's what cost you the game, was the ref being 1 second late to the ball, I don't know what to tell you, because you had all the time in the world to not let it come down to that very last play. So yeah, I mean, me, G-Man, you picked them as well. I think we kind of knew that 49ers were coming in with momentum, and they sure did. So yeah, I say the 49ers won that game. I don't think the Cowboys lost that game.
I would like to say one thing, and that is San Francisco should have probably lost the game for the garbage 4th and 1, not going for it.
Yeah.
There are certain moments in games where a coach has to say, you know what, we're going to win this game right here.
Yeah.
And that was backed by momentum. That's backed by the elite running game that San Francisco was having going for them, and also was backed by the analytics. Like, there was nothing that said you don't go for it, and they didn't go for it. They punted. Then later in the game, they get all cute and they try to move a tackle from left to right, and they don't get set, and then they get the 5-yard penalty. I was saying coaching was bad on Dallas. Kyle Shanahan almost blew another big lead. And of course, he was the offensive coordinator in the 28-3 Super Bowl loss, Atlanta, New England.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that Dallas didn't deserve that Dallas deserved to win, but I'm not out of that saying San Francisco made all the right calls and deserved to win that game either. They opened the door for Dallas to have a chance at the end.
Oh, I 100% agree. They up until that series of events in the fourth quarter, 49ers were playing a great game. But I do agree, coaching was terrible on both sides. There was multiple calls that when Cowboys were driving in that last drive, I was saying to myself, if 49ers lose this, they deserve to lose this based on the decisions that they made here in the last couple drives. I of course wanted them to win, but it was terrible on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, did you guys see that fake punt? That fake punt was pretty good. Beautiful. How about the next play where they kept the punt unit on the field?
I don't even know what was going on. Like I was confused, and I wasn't even.
First down, right? Keep the punt unit on the field. Genius calling. Whoever came up with that.
The commentators were like trying to pretend like they knew what was going on. They were like, "Oh yeah, this is a thing to confuse the the defense. So the defense can't transition in time." Yeah, that's BS.
And the defense sat there and looked at them like, "Okay, snap the ball." And then they send their offense on, and the defense goes, "Well, I guess I get to sub now. So good luck getting your playoff." Like it was so bad.
Yeah.
Dallas. Again, remember how I said there are moments that are just fireable offenses? Losing to the Jags to break a streak kind of could be a fireable offense. Drafting a kicker in the second round after you traded up to do it, fireable offense, especially when he only lasted 1 year, Jason Light. That right there, I mean, the punt unit, come on. That's such a dumb call. Running the ball with 14 seconds left, no timeouts. Dumb. Like, guys, you are paid millions of dollars to not do that.
Mm-hmm. Listen, like I said last week, choke artists. When Dallas, I'm just gonna say it right now, they were phenomenal this year. Until it came to the time that mattered in playoffs, and they choke. Do it all the time. That's why when I pick the 49ers, I'm like, Dallas, no, not doing it. And I was right.
They have all these players like Ben was saying. You have the best players. If you go match for match every position, what's going on? Like even back when Cowboys had Tony Romo, they've always had good players on the team and just cannot get that final piece. I mean, even last week, CeeDee Lamb, I think it was even like the third quarter before he even got his first catch. I mean, you have a superstar on your team you're not even utilizing. I understand you have Cooper and you have Gallup and other Elliott. I mean, I know you're stacked, but you're not even using all your resources. I don't know.
You hate to see it, but I love to see it. So, it is what it is. Did you guys watch the Rams game versus Arizona? That is possibly the most garbage game I've seen in a long time. And I watched the Eagles game, so I mean,
did you watch the Steelers game?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, actually,
dude, how do you beat? I don't understand. How are you this bad? Eagles bad, Arizona's bad, Steelers are bad. How are you this bad going into playoffs? I get Kyler Murray. It's his first game in playoffs, but that shouldn't matter when your offense is just so good, like
is it though?
I don't know. It was solid.
Arizona was 7-0. Since then, what is the record?
Yeah. Okay.
4-6.
Okay.
Why? Because they had injuries to DeAndre Hopkins. They had injuries to the running backs. They had injuries to the defense. They had injuries to their offensive line. Cliff Kingsbury showed his true colors. He's one of, if not the worst head coach in the league. They were not prepared. They ran a horrible offensive scheme. They rely on Kyler Murray making plays, throwing it up to DeAndre Hopkins. Guess what? Hopkins is out. That team, that offense is totally different when that guy is not on the field. I typically say that quarterback more important than wide receiver, but when you are trying to overcome bad coaching, good quarterback needs a good receiver. They need playmakers to overcome bad coaching. It showed in Dallas, it showed in Arizona. The Rams are healthy. The Rams were hungry. The Rams were at home. And that pass rush, that front four is ridiculous. Kyler Murray never stood a chance. I don't think it's fair to go, Kyler Murray, first playoff game. Yeah, he was in. I think it's safe to say the Rams were prepared. Arizona wasn't.
Yeah.
Arizona was great the first 7 games. Arizona was a terrible second half team. And
True.
injuries, I think, played a large portion of that. And when you have injuries and you have bad coaching, you get bad results.
True that. Sick, did you see that game?
Yeah, that was. I was watching that, and it was like, okay, you can come back from that. Oh, you're gonna make another mistake. You can't keep making a mistake every single play. It was just, yeah, it wasn't even. It was just bad decisions. It wasn't even like Rams outplaying them. It was, yeah, Rams were definitely the better team, but it was just terrible play after terrible call, everything. The one again, I think this may have been nerves on Murray's part when he's in the end zone about to be sacked for the safety, and he just throws the ball up. I mean, what do you expect to happen? You have no idea where you're throwing that ball, and this is the NFL. They're gonna pick that off and score a touchdown. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Again, it was just, it wasn't even like football you want to watch. It was just terrible football all around.
I believe that play was in part because of how much pressure was starting to mount. I know I played baseball for 10 years, and I've been in a position where the team behind me was failing. I remember one particular game I I was a ground ball pitcher, so a lot of my contact was weak. And I remember the defense behind me made 3 consecutive errors. All of a sudden, I tried to throw the ball a little bit harder. My command went away because I was trying to do more than what I can do. I think Kyler Murray was in that same position. The defense was failing, the offense was failing, the coaching was failing. So he gets pressured up the middle and he's in the end zone. He wants to avoid the safety, so he fires the ball to where his running back kind of is, but it's right into the defensive player's hands. I'm not saying it's a good call. I'm not trying to say, oh, Kyler Murray can't, oh, there's excuses for it. He can't make that play.
No.
He's not a rookie. He's in the playoffs. You can't do that. But I think there's a lot of outside factors that go into that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think there's two things for me on that. When I was watching that play, I was like, I understand. Like you said, he's trying to get something done, trying to do something. And the other thing, like if you watch those sequence of drives, I don't think they had a snap that wasn't in their end zone for like 3 straight drives. The pressure, the that gets to you. That has to get to you as a quarterback. Um, so yeah, I 100% think that's part of it. But you're a professional football player that's been playing theoretically, your entire life. This is natural to you. You've been doing this every week. You don't make that decision. You have to have the composure in that situation.
100% agree. But I understand why he did it.
Yeah. That game to me definitely felt like Arizona beat Arizona. But to take nothing away from the Rams, like the Rams are great, and I'm sure that when they face the Bucks, we'll see. We'll see.
I'm not looking forward to Darnold and Miller and yeah,
No,
that's
no, I don't think
we
anybody.
if our offensive line isn't back for that game, I'm not looking forward to that game.
God, these games, man, these games. We still got 3 more games to talk about, but I'm gonna segue into the Mac Jones situation from last week, where Finn was talking about how much of a C tier quarterback that Mac Jones is, and it really showed when he had to go against the Bills. Finn, why don't you segue right into this?
I'm gonna defend Mac Jones a little bit.
Hmm.
And that is there was nothing that anybody could have done in that game. Buffalo Bills were the first team in history to have what is deemed a perfect game. Every single offensive series ended in a touchdown except for the one offensive series that ended in a kneel down. You cannot ask for a better performance than what the Bills had. Mac Jones was going to struggle because Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Dan Marino, John Elway, you name it, was going to struggle in that scenario. Their defense, the Patriots defense, was absolutely showed signs of age, their how slow they are, and the Bills and Josh Allen showed their erratic greatness that they are, and they absolutely stomped them. I said last week that what I was here reading was that the Bills defense was furious that the Patriots won that game where Mac Jones threw 3 passes. I believe the whole Bills team was furious that New England was even questioned in this game. And I mean, they blew them out. It wasn't close. Mac Jones showed that the moment was a little too big, but again, it wouldn't have mattered. As soon as they didn't score on their first drive, it was over.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Mac Jones just, I know he's a rookie, but he showed that he was a rookie. Sick. Sick.
There's not
Please tell
much.
me. Please tell me. Please tell me you got something.
The Bills, that like we're talking about, Arizona and how just bad decision after bad decision. You're watching the Bills. It was the opposite. Whereas can like I feel like he can just throw the ball blindly and he's gonna hit his own players right now. They could not be stopped. Whatever decision they made, it was successful. Which states to me how finely tuned that offense has become. They know what each other are doing. They know what the play calls are going to be. Um, it was like Finn said, it was flawless. Even watching them, from our standpoint, it was a great offense to watch. And it wasn't like one player. It wasn't, just one particular, getting lucky potentially on like a long deep ball. No, it was all over the board. Running, screens, different wide receivers being involved, everyone. So I mean, they were the team I had picked at the beginning of the year to go to the Super Bowl. So it's looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, next week's going to be the deciding factor because I'm pretty sure me and Finn here chose Kansas City, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's going to be a big game. Um, okay, I know we got to talk about it. Steelers Chiefs. The one game, the one game that I actually missed. I sounds to me like I didn't miss much. So sick. Why don't you go with this one? What did you see from the Chiefs?
So I will say this: the first half, the Steelers, there was a little bit of me that was like, Steelers could potentially show up here. Kansas City could not get things going. They were struggling a little bit. I think they were up by like one touchdown at halftime, something of that nature, and then they blew up in the second half. The Steelers got a little bit lucky here and there with some plays. I think they had a defensive touchdown as well. So there's a couple things that the Chiefs they were fumbling the ball. They couldn't get things going. But the Steelers still couldn't get any offense going. There was nothing that they were able to get. Big Ben, to his credit, they really need Deontay Johnson really needs to figure out how to catch a football. There was at least three instances of first downs, of play, drive extending plays that he just straight up didn't catch the football. And I think to me, like, you're looking at Ben, who's been in the league forever. You could see the frustration. Like, I am hitting my players, I am getting them where they need to be, and they're just not. They're not. The fundamentals weren't there, and it's just interesting for me to see that in the playoffs, because normally the playoffs, you're ready to go, you're ticking in all cylinders. It's win or go home, and you're dropping passes left and right. So yeah, I mean, even though the Chiefs couldn't do anything in the first half, they killed them in the second half, and Steelers just were non-existent. So yeah, I mean, it was an interesting game to watch just from kind of that standpoint. But there was really no competition when it came down to the final score there.
Yeah, Big Ben should have stayed home this year. He should have retired last year. Like in the season showed really. Like Finn said earlier, should they have been there? No, they were in there, and they got crushed by the Chiefs, 21-42. Chiefs do what the Chiefs do. Out with the old, in with the new.
What makes the Chiefs so scary is how they won that game. Pittsburgh put up a defensive battle for the first, like, I don't know, few minutes of the game, and then the Chiefs had 5 minutes where they put up 35 points. Goodbye. See you later. Deuces. That's all you need to know.
Oh wow, jeez.
Bye, Ben.
Bye,
Next.
Ben. Yeah, bye, Ben. You'll never see Ben in the NFL again. You like my rhyme? All right. Well, now
Would you say he's a has-been?
he's a has-been. Okay. All right. On a more serious note, Bengals versus Raiders. I'm gonna take something back. I said this game was the one game that I was just like, oh, Yon City. It was actually pretty good. It was actually pretty good. I mean, it had me rooting for the Bengals like that entire time. Even though I picked the Raiders to win, I was just like, I can't, Bengals, dude. 31 years since their last playoff win. That's crazy. Finn, what did you see in that game?
Not what I saw. It's what was heard. We can't even go a playoff game without the refs being the big focus and the big story of the game, right? So I'm gonna be honest with you. I was watching the game, I had it on mute, I had it kind of up on the TV, I was doing other stuff. My dad called me up and he's like, "Are you watching the game?" And I was like, "Yeah, kind of. What's up?" And my dad went on a 5 minute rant about how horrible the officiating was. There's this imaginary whistle that was blown but wasn't blown. It was blown, but it was after this game, but it was before you saw the Oakland players, sorry, Las Vegas players stop. And then everyone's like, well, I mean, it was inadvertent, but like it happened, I guess, right after, so we're going to call it a touchdown anyways. Really? Really? The big takeaway from a playoff game where Joe Burrow throws 2 touchdowns, where Jamar Chase has over 100 yards, the big takeaway is did the official blow the whistle at the right time or not? Should the play have counted? Should the play not have counted? That's the takeaway. Congratulations, NFL. Congratulations, officials. You guys are undefeated. Oh, also, Cincinnati's offense shows that they're good. Oh, the Raiders, they battled, they tried, they came up short. There's my summary.
It's a pretty good summary. Joe Burrow was definitely elite in that game. Let's see if we can keep it up next week. Sick.
Yeah, I fully agree that Bengals should have won the game. But I was watching that play in real time, and I felt that they blew, like, when that play went off, I was like, they blew the whistle in the middle of the play. They have to call it back. They're sitting there talking about the play, and And they're like, no, it's fine. We're just gonna go ahead and say it's cool. Don't worry about it. You can't even review that. So now, Oakland's screwed on that play, essentially. Las Vegas is screwed on that. Now you got me doing it, Finn.
Sorry, my bad. It happens.
But I felt like when they started replaying it and showing it, that they like delayed the whistle in the replays. Because when I was watching it live, I felt that whistle was way before when they started showing the replays and showing what happened. So I don't know. I don't know if anyone has clips of the actual play and when that whistle was blown, because it was pretty obvious to me in real time. I hate that that's the takeaway, like Finn's saying, from the game. But how can you not take that? I think that was a third down as well, I believe. So that's a game-changing play essentially. If you don't get that, you're going for a field goal, and they only won by a touchdown. So I don't know. It sucks that that's lingering over the play. But do I think Las Vegas should have won? No. I think the Bengals were the better team. So I'm not. I hate that, again, we're talking about their historical win. That's kind of has this cloud over it to me. It has like an asterisk next to it. But they deserve the win. So, I guess good outcome is good. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, next year, probably going to forget all about that. But, this year, bad officiating, all around.
I still think of the Saints play with the pass interference, so hopefully it doesn't become, I don't know, historical.
Yeah,
I think that it won't be because, unfortunately, as great and controversial that would have been, the Dallas game trumped it, so no one's going to care about it.
Yeah. Well, I just like all the Cowboy fans that are like, we were robbed. So great. Just so great. Like, we weren't robbed. Like, the Eagles weren't robbed. They just suck. So, that's fine. But we got the elites playing this week, guys. The elites. These games, kind of hard to pick from.
Before we move on, who got all the games right last week?
Yeah, I got to give it to you, Sick. You called every single game, every single one. Finn, if he would have just chose with us, and
I would have thought about coaching.
Just leave the Cowboys alone. Leave them to just choke.
And you got to learn to not listen to your heart there, G-Man. That's all.
But listen, I didn't even pick the Cowboys to win. I picked the 49ers. I picked my team to win, and that was my bad. And somehow I thought the Raiders would win. That's also my bad. But sick. God damn.
I appreciate it. I had to make up. I think I was last in the regular season, so I had to make it up somehow.
Listen, I hope
every game counts, including playoffs, man.
I hope you can do it again. I hope you can do it again.
That's what I'm going for. So we'll see.
So I will actually have you go first. First game up, Bills Chiefs. Who do you got, Sick?
I don't know what to pick here. To me, this is like a coin flip, honestly. But I mean, I look at this game and I think of a Super Bowl when I watch these two teams play. So yeah, again, it's a toss up to me. So I'm just gonna pick the team I want to win, which is the Bills. I think if we had the best performance from each team, I still think the Bills will pull it out just a little bit. But it's who shows up first, who shows up the best. And looking at last week, the Chiefs struggled in the first half. It's something they've done all year where they haven't, they don't necessarily play a full game every game. There's struggles throughout the game. And the Bills, they're hot and cold. They're either on or off. Last week, they were totally on. I think they'll keep it going this week. So if they can keep that momentum, if they can keep the way they played last week and bring that to this week, and the Chiefs do the same, I think the Bills win hands down. But that's one game I definitely don't want to miss. It's going to be a great game.
Yeah, it definitely does feel like a Super Bowl type game for sure. I looked at that game and I was like, I don't know who to pick. Like, I ultimately went with the Chiefs. It's because they've been there so many times recently, and they looked really, really good against the Steelers, which doesn't say much. But I don't know. The Bills versus the Pats. The Bills had the Pats number. It's like two really good teams facing each other. I don't know. It, like you said, it was a coin flip, but ultimately it came down to the Chiefs for me. I think that they get one over the Bills this time. Finn, what do you think?
The Bills are the most complete team in the NFL. They have the best secondary in terms of one of the top secondaries in the NFL. They have a very, very strong front seven. They can stop the run, they can stop the pass defensively. Offensively, their running game is some controversy there because their running backs aren't very good, but their running game is good because of Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And of course, they have an elite passing game starting off with Stephon Diggs. They've got several other receivers that are pretty darn good right behind him. Then you look at the Chiefs, and the Chiefs redid their offensive line. I believe the right tackle or right guard, because one of their guys went down with an injury a couple of weeks ago. Their receivers, they don't have any true receivers. Tyreek Hill, speedster, he can run certain routes, but he's not the guy that creates separation with super crisp routes.
Mm-hmm.
They're lacking a number two guy, but they have Travis Kelce, who kind of helps offsets that. Their running game has been subpar, even though they used the first round pick to draft Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think this comes down to which quarterback shows up. Is it Josh Allen against New England? Third time around, or is it Josh Allen against New England first time around? Josh Allen is hot and he's cold. Patrick Mahomes is always good. The other factor that I think I said last week that it might play a factor would be, these coaches, offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, are in line for head coaching gigs. Well, that's no longer the case. They are definite head coaching gigs waiting for them. The Giants, I know we weren't really going to talk about it too much. They just settled on a GM. Whose GM did they settle on? Well, an ex-Buffalo Bills player. Why is that important? Leslie Frazier and Brian Daboll are probably one of those two guys will be the Giants head coach. So they're going to be distracted. Can they put a game plan together against the Chiefs while they're also interviewing for jobs? I don't know the answer to that. My money goes with the team that I picked to be in a Super Bowl all the way back in week 1. This is the team that I think is the best team when it comes to the playoffs. They are explosive on offense. They scored 35 points in like 5.5 minutes. The Kansas City Chiefs walk away with a win this week.
Yeah, I could not. It's gonna go either way. It's gonna go 6-way. It's gonna go our way. I don't know what way it's going, but I guess we'll find out in the first quarter of that game. But I like it too.
It's also not going to be that cold, like for Kansas City. It's going to be like in the 40s. So that 30s, 40s, somewhere in there, that's not too bad for Kansas City this time of year. That benefits Kansas City's passing attack.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be a great game. Hopefully. All right. Another game that's coming up, and they got a running back that we can't stop talking about, Derrick Henry, and he's back. So it's Titans Bengals. You got Joe Burrow on the other side, really good. Titans coming off a bye, super good. Who wins this? Finn?
My initial gut And everything about this game is telling me the team that I said last week is a serious Super Bowl contender, and that's Cincinnati. The one problem that I have is their defensive line is beat up, and they just lost their best defensive tackle last week. Losing defensive linemen the week before you face Derrick Henry is not a recipe for success. But I have the Bengals upsetting the Tennessee Titans in this one. I'm going to go with my gut. I don't think the Titans can stop Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and that deadly passing attack that is the Bengals. And I think there's enough defense on Cincinnati's side that they will be able to outscore the Titans and pull off a pretty big upset.
I was very similar in mine. I was almost the opposite though, where my gut instinct is Titans. My gut instinct's telling me the Titans should win this game. But something inside me is picking Cincinnati. And I want the Bengals to also come out and win a second game to prove the first game wasn't a fluke, to prove that they can, hopefully without the help of the refs showing up this week, win a game in the playoffs, keep the streak going. They have the city behind them. They have momentum behind them. I'm also picking the Bengals, even though
I'll be honest.
I don't know why. I don't know why I'm picking them.
I thought I was going to be a loner on that one. I did not expect either one of you to even think about it. I figured this was a clean Cincinnati upset. So I'm absolutely shocked that you're thinking the same way.
I don't trust Tannehill. I don't know. I don't know. It's something about Tennessee that I just don't think they can pull it off.
God. Really? Am I really going to be alone in picking the Titans? God. Well, I mean, when the Bengals can't get it done, and the obvious favorite is the Titans, and they soar past the Bengals, I'll be laughing. So they'll give me one more win against you guys. So, Derrick Henry's back. It's kind of hard because he just came up. I know. Can the Bengals stop Derrick Henry? Nobody has been able to stop Derrick Henry.
How healthy is Derrick Henry?
That's the question. But they just came off a bye, and he was ready. He was pretty much ready week 18, but they didn't use him. So I don't know. I don't know how healthy Derrick Henry is, and that is a big factor. But it's more in a coin flip, I'm sure. Do I want the Bengals to win? Sure, because it's fun. It's fun to speculate. Do I want Bengals in the Super Bowl? That'd be fun. Do I see them getting past the Titans? No. Sorry.
I do with their injuries. I have a hard time seeing them get past further than the Titans, but I do believe they can beat the Titans.
I guess we'll see. But no, I don't know. I think you're crazy, guys.
Here's a fun stat for you. According to DVOA, and I've referenced this before, it is an advanced metric that I do not fully understand or grasp. But according to that, the Tennessee Titans are the worst number 1 seed in NFL history. But then again, number 1 seeds are typically really, really good, so it's not that they're a bad team. It's just that they aren't as good as other teams. That's all. Just throwing that out there.
They're not a complete team. They have like what was G-Man's argument? They have Henry. That's the argument that everyone makes. It's Henry. How can you not pick them?
They have AJ Brown.
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown. They have Derrick Henry.
Is Tannehill a top 10 quarterback? No, he's not even top 15 probably.
He's about that. He's about that range.
It's their run game. Literally, their whole game is passed it to Derrick Henry. But
hold on. We're not running a 1980s offense, G-Man. I know you're an Eagles fan and you're used to seeing the ball get run.
But they did all season. Most of the season.
But now you're playing playoff caliber teams that are preparing straight for you. Like I get it every week they're preparing for you. But this is play win or go home. These teams are here to stop what is going to let you win. That's all they're thinking about this week is Henry. Force Tannehill to beat us and we're fine.
Yep. 100%.
Guess
When
we'll
your offense
we will
revolves,
find out, huh? I guess we will find out, huh?
We certainly will.
people love to say that you have to run the ball in the playoffs. Running the football wins games. It is not true at all. You pass to score, you run to win. And you have to be able to pass to score. Well, we know Cincinnati can do that. We're about to find out if Tannehill can do it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have 100% confidence in Tannehill, but Derrick Henry's a beast. We've said it before. Like, you can't stop that guy. It is a train going right through your defense.
Jonathan Taylor's a beast, and how well did he do in the playoffs?
Who?
Jonathan Taylor, the running back who led the league in yards this year?
Yeah. Was he in playoffs?
No, he wasn't. That's my point.
Why? Because he lost to the Jags.
Because running the football doesn't win games.
They barely ran. It was Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz lost that game. And you can't tell me otherwise. But regardless, moving on, okay? Packers just come off a bye week. San Francisco just beat Dallas. They were choking themselves. They move on. Sick. Who do you got?
As much as I love the underdog and I want to keep picking the 49ers, it'll be no contest. I really don't think Green Bay is going to have much trouble here. 49ers, yeah, they've had a good run, and I think they deserve the wins they've had. But the teams they've been playing haven't been the caliber of the Packers and Aaron Rodgers and all the weapons outside of that Green Bay has. If Green Bay comes out and is playing the same way they played all season, I don't think it'll even be much of a game. But yeah, I 100% am picking the Packers this weekend.
Listen, I'm also picking the Packers. Like, I don't think that San Francisco has enough in the tank to stop them. Like, it's just coming off a bye week. Greatest quarterback of all time. And
Or number 12.
To wear the number 12, right? Who's going to stop them? Not San Fran. So I also have the Packers. Short and sweet. Finn, who you got?
San Francisco, I've said it last week. I'll say it again. What makes them tough is that they can do a little bit of everything, and they do a little bit of everything different from everybody else. Their offensive coordinator, who I'm learning a whole lot about this year, the last few weeks, he was once asked, why are you pitching the ball and running inside? Typically, when you see a guy pitch the ball, you run outside. And his answer was, because you expect them to run outside. Duh. San Francisco is unique, and with that is a unique challenge. I thought they would have been a fun matchup against Tampa for that same reason, but no, they got the terrible Eagles. But with that said, I am not betting against the greatest quarterback to wear number 12 in Green Bay, the year that is his final dance, the last dance of the NFL for him. Who knows what that means? Yeah, Green Bay. Easy.
My man. All right. Now, I saved maybe the best for last. I guess we'll have to watch the game first.
Yeah, best quarterback for last. You're correct.
Yeah.
Yep, Matthew Stafford. You're right.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm gonna kick it to Finn first because I want to know. I want to save Sick for last on this one because it's his team. So
fair.
All right. Here's the deal. That first matchup, go ahead and take all the stats, take all your numbers, take everything in that outcome, crumble it up in a piece of paper, and chuck it across the room. It don't matter. Now, the one good thing that's happening is that this is held in Tampa. Why is that important? Because LA and Tampa have similar weather conditions. It's going to be warm. It's going to be sunny. It ain't going to be that bad. It's going to be dry. It's not going to be rainy. That's going to be important. What's scary for the Bucks, as you're the Bucks fan, is the Arizona. Wow, the Rams do not need to run the football, unlike the Eagles. The Rams can spread them out and throw it to Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham. They've got weapons. But also, if you play back, don't worry, they can run it with Cam Akers, and their offensive line is tough and it's gritty, and Matthew Stafford can make every throw imaginable. The good news for Bucks fans is that Matthew Stafford also tries to make every throw imaginable and is known to make the boneheaded throw or two. On the defensive side, Arizona has an elite four guys on the defensive line, and they have a great corner who can man up against Mike Evans and help slow him down. So the question is going to be who steps up. And the Bucks are going to have to be able to answer that question. Yes, they're going to run the ball with Leonard Fournette, but they also have to deal with some guy named Aaron Donald. He's all right. He's decent. If Tristan Wirfs is at 50% or 60%, that's going to be a huge advantage for the Rams. My gut wants me to pick the Rams. Everything I say wants me to pick the Rams. I dislike Tampa. I dislike Brady. And with that said, I'm going to pull a sick. I'm going to pick who I want to win because I everything I look at is so evenly matched, but I'm picking the Rams to win this game.
All right. Well, so listen, don't hate me, okay? I'm not. I know they just blew out the Eagles, but I gotta go with the Bucks. Brady finds a way to get it done. I hate it, but I'm going with the Bucks. I know that the Rams are good, but it's playoffs. You can't bet against Brady, so I gotta go with the Bucks. Yeah.
Throw a flag on that.
You doing the water bottle challenge over there?
No, they're throwing a flag on that. You said Brady gets it done, so I figured you meant by a flag.
Oh, I thought it was roughing the passer.
Yeah.
No,
you
we
can't look at him.
Week. Yeah,
Oh.
Brady doesn't think there's any special treatment there. You guys heard
No
it straight from his
special
mouth.
treatment.
Yeah.
No special treatment. No special treatment. You killing me. All right. Sick.
I
Finally,
want to hear the breakdown of 6 here.
Me
The
too.
matchup that he is most worried about and what he wants to see and is excited to see.
All right. So, of course, I'm going to pick the Buccaneers. I'll just get that out of the way. Buccaneers are going to win the game. Do I truly believe that, though, is a different story. So, a couple things watching last week, right? Watch the Rams. Unfortunately, it wasn't maybe a great game to gather data on, but when you watched them last week, Cooper Kupp is their main offense right now. He is blocking, he's catching, he's storing. Everything on that offense is running through Cooper Kupp. Odell got a little bit going last week, but the last couple of weeks, Odell really hasn't been involved. So if he gets involved, that's a problem. Cooper's going to keep doing what he's doing. If Odell starts kicking, that's going to be a problem. If they did him ticking and rolling that offense. Cam Akers scared me a little bit. He had a pretty great game last week. A lot of, not just running the ball, but catching as well and playing that kind of, hybrid back role. So their offense is scary. Their offense is decent. And they beat us earlier in the season. So I think, to me, that's one of the factors going to play into this. We want that kind of revenge from that. I think it was week 2. It was one of the first weeks. It was a pretty embarrassing loss that we suffered. There was a lot of, the Rams doing what they wanted against us. So, do we have that long of a memory? Can we remember, hey, we got to get these guys back for that week 2 loss. I hope that plays a part into it because I think the Bucs are a team like that needs a little bit of motivation to kind of get going. But what scares me when I'm thinking of the Buccaneers, the injuries. I mean, clearly the players that are already out doesn't help, mostly in the wide receiving core. Um, the like we were talking about worse and the tackle, we were talking about um, Jensen at center. Those two players are questionable and may, probably even leaning towards not playing this week. Um,
Jensen's definitely playing. He had full participation in practice. I mean, he is questionable, but he's good to go.
they
Worse
both
is
played. Well, so they were both out until today. Today was like their first full practice. Jensen,
okay.
I would agree, is more likely to play. Wirfs is what I'm more so worried about. Um, I believe yesterday in the press conference he mentioned him as a long shot to play this weekend. So we'll see. He's an integral part of that offensive line. Um, and again, if we can protect Brady, we have a chance. That's our key right now, right? I mean, clearly protecting quarterback, right? But when you have Brady, that's the key to your offense. Um, Fournette will help, but he's been injured. He's coming back. Um, I don't know what he's going to play in that.
Eagles sacked Brady 4 times last game.
Yeah, yeah, the Eagles.
That's
Yeah,
the Eagles.
and they have
So what are the
Darnold.
Rams gonna do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Rams are built to sack quarterbacks. So
Hmm.
if we have an injured or a offensive line that isn't 100%, it could very well not be pretty. But one of the things last week they were mentioning, it's Brady being Brady, right? But he mentions that he knows where he's going with the football before it's even snapped. So if we get in that mindset, if we come in and Brady's playing the top of his game, um, I have no doubt we can win. But the problem for me is there's a lot of things right now that have to fall in place for the Buccaneers, and there's less things that need to fall in place for the Rams. So I think if you're taking a look at holistically, I think the Rams have a greater chance of winning the game. Um, I think the Buccaneers have a higher ceiling. If we play the best game we can play, we'll blow them out. Um, Otherwise, it'll probably be a close game coming down to the fourth quarter.
Leonard Fournette's
What
back,
was
right?
that? Yeah,
Leonard
Fournette's
Fournette
back.
is back.
Can I tell you what I think would be absolutely amazing? And that is, it's a really close game. Say the Bucks have a 2-point lead, and with the 35, 40 seconds left, the Rams get the ball. They move the ball into field goal range, and the ex-Buccaneer kicker, Matt Gay, kicks a game winner, walk off, no flag on the play, and Brady goes home. Oh,
That would
that
be
would
pretty
just
good.
that would just
Listen,
hit somewhere special.
I'm picking who I think will win, not the team that I want to win. So listen,
And
the Rams pull it off.
I
Awesome.
believe
But
because
sorry, Sid.
historically home teams don't just win all their games. Like that just doesn't happen very often. The 1-2 seed winning all their games, it just doesn't happen, right? Well, we had almost that happen last week. So I'm expecting a couple of upsets this week. I'm expecting at least two. So I won't be shocked at all if I go 0-4 this week and I pick the wrong two teams to go upset. But I do believe that there will be two away teams that walk away with wins. And that's just where I am. And I chose the Rams and I chose Cincinnati to be those two teams.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I will say that one of the things when I was watching last week, I think there's two players when I was watching that are very, very stoic in the playoffs. Josh Allen looked like nothing could phase him. And I think Tom Brady, with being a veteran, having the experience, this is like another game for him. And I think that plays a big part of it. Matthew Stafford's been known to have big games that he doesn't show up to. Could that happen again? Potentially. I don't think that'll happen to Brady though.
No, but Brady does what Brady does. I mean, if you look at his numbers, it's amazing. everyone talks about how great he is in the playoffs, and where he does really well is that he doesn't have a bad game in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have a great like if you look at his numbers, and I'm not trying to just be a Brady basher, but when you actually look at his numbers, for instance, Mahomes and Josh Allen both threw five touchdown passes,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe I saw a stat. It was like quarterbacks that have thrown 5 touchdown passes in a playoff game. There's like 4 guys, and Brady's not on that list. And so like when you start to really dig into it, people seem to think Brady plays at this like crazy high level in every playoff game. And the reality is he doesn't make the mistakes in the level playoff games. And it's the mistakes that kill you in these type of games. And
Yeah.
so if he just relies on the run game and defense and moves the ball at when he needs to, he's effective and the offense is effective and it wins games. That bodes well for a guy like Ryan Tannehill. It does not bode well for a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo and Matthew Stafford.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point of playoffs, right? Consistency. It doesn't matter if you win a game by 50 points. If you win a game, you win a game. And that's what, like you're saying, I think that is one of the advantage of the Bucks is we just need to be consistent. We need to go and do what we need to do. I don't think Stafford's consistent. I don't think Odell Beckham's consistent. And I think that we, as a team, are. But I mean, you mentioned the Chiefs, right? During the Chiefs game, they scored 35 points in 5 minutes. Well, can they do that every single game? Because if not, that one game they can't do that. It's going to be the one they lose and go home.
True. Although the Chiefs have done it for like 4 years now, so
I mean, yeah, it's the Chiefs, right? So, but I'm just saying, if that's your MO, you better do it every damn game, or you're gonna have a problem.
True that. Well, boys, I think that we covered just about everything. So let's move into final thoughts. Sick, do you have any final thoughts?
I do not. I'm gonna wear the same shirt I wore last Sunday for this Sunday. We're playing at a weird time, 3 p.m. or something. I don't understand why we have to change the times. We're being superstitious here, and now we're not playing at a normal time. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to the games. I'm, lucky to still have my team in it, so I'm looking forward to that game in particular. But I want to see Green Bay and Tennessee this week. We haven't seen them in a couple weeks, so it'll be interesting to see those two teams come out and see what the number one seeds can do. But yeah, that's it from me today.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. What about you, Finn? You got any final thoughts?
my final thought is something that everyone should take advice to, and that is don't look at your crypto wallet. It's really bad today.
It's been like what a couple months of that, man.
No. It's today. It was really bad.
Really
It was
bad?
really bad. It was 15 to 20% down on every single coin I own.
You told me not to check it. I'm not going to check it.
Yeah, don't check it.
Not going to check it. But no.
It's not financial advice.
Not
Just don't
financial
check it.
advice. Not financial advice. I guess my final thought is go Chiefs. I don't know. I don't really have a final thought. I want the Chiefs and I want the Packers.
You could have stopped with you don't have a thought.
I don't really have a thought. But
You're an Eagles fan. That went running out the door.
My poor Eagles, dude. It was hunting season, and I think they ran out of cannonballs. Yeah. So, yeah. No, with that, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, everyone. Bye.